I would like to thank Nino Caponi and the team of Giorgio Gori for this opportunity. My name is Riccardo Manzini. My colleague Riccardo Accorsi. We belong to Bologna University. In particular, the department is the Department of Industrial Engineering. And I am the director of a project whose name is Food Supply Chain Project, Food Supply Chain Center. And the aim and the object of this project is to develop technologies and opportunities to control the quality of food at the place of consumption. Food, such as wine, of course, and obviously we are here to talk about wine, which is the quality of wine at the place of consumption, at the door of the consumer. This is a very interesting and very important question, and this is the reason the title of this speech is the food journey, and in particular the wine journey. The agenda of the speech gives us the opportunity to illustrate the goals, the scopes and aims of this project, including the illustration of the partners involved and partners coming from all over the world, including several companies, several logistic providers and producers, of course. We would like to illustrate the so-called closed control system. This is an original system we developed in order to simulate the stress condition, the environmental and physical stresses operating to a generic package of food moving from a place to another, and sometimes the place of origin is significantly far away from the place of consumption. Then we would like to illustrate the impact of this analysis in terms of environmental effects. We know that everything is green, logistics is green, product processes, manufacturing are green, and this is the reason we are also working in order to evaluate the quality of wine, the safety of food products, and also the impact of a generic product at the place of consumption in terms of sustainability. Environmental sustainability obviously is the main issue, the main topic of interest. Then the main focus of this speech deals with the previously cited Gori liner, which is an equipment you well known, and this equipment has a great level of performance in terms of protect the quality of wine. We give several demonstrations of this effectiveness. Finally, an evaluation of the life cycle assessment, the life cycle evaluation of the Gori liner compared with the standard and other typology of container and packaging solution. Okay, new issues and criticalities and opportunities for all of you in order to involve who is interested to this project. The Food Supply Chain Project, the aim is to control the quality of food at the place of consumption. And to this purpose we develop new technologies and opportunities, including the analysis of different packaging and containment solutions, because we are investigating on effective containment solutions, such as obviously the Gori liner equipment. First of all, we would like to present a basic definition of food supply chain. We know that the food supply chain entails with several processing from the farming and harvest, passing through the management and storage of raw materials, food processing and manufacturing, of course packaging, distribution and all related procedures from farm to fork, from field to the table of the consumer. This is the wide range of interest of logistics, of packaging solution, and this is the wide range of interest of our project at Bologna University. You can find more information in a dedicated website. You find also a few information on the table in front of you. And recently this project sponsored two important events. The first event was an international meeting, an international conference in Bologna, in Bertinoro, very close to Bologna, 2 years ago. And recently the second event, the second international workshop of food supply chain in Chile, a few days ago. These are the large number of research institutions and partners involved in this project. In particular, I would like to illustrate the so-called food-based working group. The food-based working group is a working group operating in the definition of the expectation for the research of the future on food. All of you probably know that the Horizon 2020. Horizon 2020 is a framework programming of the European community, and Bologna University is the leader in the definition of the content of interest for the food research. Obviously, including logistic criticalities, logistics opportunities. This is the reason we are illustrating this framework in order to collect interest from some of you, of course. Okay. The target of this project is to control the quality, the safety, the sustainability, and the level of efficiency of the supply chain from farm to fork. This is certainly an ambitious target, but this is the focus of our efforts, thanks to the large and important collaboration of Giorgio Gori. A few lists of activities from the activity of monitoring and tracking the transportation and storage condition of foods, such as wine. The basic activity is to track and monitor the variability of temperature during a journey. During a journey from a continent to another, from Livorno to South Africa, or to Australia, or to Far East, Taiwan, Japan, South of America, Canada, Quebec, and so on. This is the main activity, and we have collected about 1,000 of journeys, very interesting, with peaks of temperature of about also 60 Celsius degree, or minus 15, 20 degrees under the zero, of course. Then the other main activity of our project is the simulation. We can collect data of the journey, and we have the opportunity to simulate in a laboratory the stress affecting the quality of a product. Stresses such as temperature, humidity, vibration, and also light exposure, shock, and so on. We have the opportunity to simulate the journey, and obviously to conduct an organoleptic analysis, a chemical and physical analysis on the products subject to the simulation in order to evaluate the level of quality, the safety, and so on. Changing the decision in terms of logistics, in terms of containment, and obviously applying and not applying the Gorilliner equipment solution. We work with several food products such as edible oil, of course the extra virgin olive oil, the Italian extra virgin olive oil, cheese, wine, bakery products, meat, fruit and vegetables, and so on. We have the opportunity to track and trace the variability of temperature and to simulate within a climate chamber, a climate room. This is a view of one of our recent developed room, climate room. You can see that several electronic and mechatronic equipment are involved, and inside this chamber it is possible to introduce a pallet, and so a tertiary package made of several bottles of wine, of course. And we can simulate the effects due to the collection of data in terms of humidity, temperature, and so on. And now my colleague Riccardo Accorsi will try to discuss further about the first obtained results by simulation and in collaboration with Giorgio Accorsi. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Riccardo Accorsi from University of Bologna, and I try to go in detail in the effort that we carried out in this research project, joined of course with Giorgio Accorsi. This is a sort of sample of what we are going to talk about, and it is with a sample of reality of what happens to a shipment of wine, but it could be also another kind of products, for example oil or stuff like that. But okay, we consider just wine in this case, and this is a kind of shipping profile that occurs to a bottle of wine in a shipment from Italy port to a shipment from Italy port to, for example, Taiwan. You can see as the wine cases inside the freight container experience some different peaks of temperature, and the temperature ranges up to 50, 60, 55 Celsius degrees, and potentially it could be dangerous, of course, for wine, because wine is a very sensitive product to temperature and to heat exposure. This, of course, deals with the heat exposure, but we also have some other environmental stresses that can affect, of course, the transportation, for extreme cold, the humidity, the light exposure, and also the vibration and mechanical stresses. So the focus of our project is try to point out the effect of the shipment and the best practice of the transportation and logistics in order to ensure the quality and the storage conservation of wine. Okay, what we realized is a number of activities. Okay. Is a set of activities that involve us in realizing some monitoring campaign in order to track the wine shipment all over the world. So we get involved some producer and also distributors of wine that used to ship products and wine, Italian wine all over the world. And we embed some temperature and of course temperature sensor within the wine cases that allow us to track the shipment of the wine from the facilities of the vendors of the producer toward the final consumer and the import doors. Then we collect the sensors, the temperature sensor, at the University of Bologna in order to track what was happening to that kind of bottle, that kind of shipment. And we are able to simulate, to replace the journey of wine within our climate control room, climate control chamber, that collect the same shipping profile that was experienced by the product, and realize a sort of virtual shipment to a set of sample of the same product, the same wine product, belonging to the same production lot. In order to evaluate and assess what was the effect and impact of the shipment on the quality and the perception of quality of the products. Then we realized some statistical analysis in order to arrange data and simulation and results and provide some suggestions for improvement on the logistic chain and the logistic transportation of wine. Okay. So these are a sample of transportation, of tracking transportation monitoring profile that we track. And of course, in the last 2 years, we collect more than 1,000 ships, and we tag more than 100 products, different products, of course, different kind of wine, and also kind of oils. So, as I told you, the aim of the project is try to provide and suggest some different alternative packaging solution for wine that allow to ensure and to preserve wine from temperature fluctuation of products transit during the transportation. Here we analyzed, we studied in different way the Gory liner, which is, of course, you know, every one of you knows about the Gory liner. Is a sort of cover that allows to reduce the temperature fluctuation during the transport of food, of products, and other sensitive other products sensitive to temperature. So the Gory liner seems to be a trade-off in quality for transportation, but also an environmental care solution and also an economical solution in comparison with the other. Okay, now a brief collection of what I'm talking about. So some samples that deals with the transportation that we tracked during the last year. This is a kind of profile tracked during a transportation from Livorno to Quebec, and you can see as the temperature in the red line dropped down to 12 Celsius degrees below zero, and in comparison, the light blue line, the Gory liner line, maintain and reduce the temperature fluctuation during all the transportation. So all the logistical process, considering involving handling at the origination and destination port. It's another example of the potential warning in the transportation of wine. You can see as in a shipment from Italy, Livorno port to Long Beach. The wine cases experience several peaks, several raises in temperature, up to 61 or 58 or 57, 55, and so on, Celsius degrees. That's going to be very dangerous and potentially damage the quality and also the perception of quality for wine. That's the last picture, the last sample of tracking profile that I would like to show you. And this is represent, of course, the benefit of Gory liner in comparison with the standard line, the standard container, in reducing the temperature fluctuation around the thermal measurement is almost 20, in this case, almost 23 Celsius degrees. So there's a guy from literature, Stevenson, in 2005, who is also still is a wine scientist that ensured that if exposed to a temperature higher than 25 Celsius degrees for a long period, the wine may become spoiled, of course, and cooked. And this you can read, by this you can read again these graphs and internal potential damage occurred to the quality of wine, considering the steps from literature. So this is another analysis that we carried out that involves multi-sensor monitoring of a shipment. We involve many sensors, temperature sensors in the same TU container in order to figure out which were the most effective and most sensible pallet location within the container. And here we represent the standard deviation analysis. So the higher the value, the range of the standard deviation, the higher the fluctuation of temperature within the container. And you can see by the comparison from the graph on the left and the graph on the right that the standard container account for higher variability in temperature in comparison with the Gorilla Island solution. And also you can see as also the pallet location close to the door are the most sensible to temperature exposure, and so this is going to be a suggestion for example, for cover, for boarding just some pallet location with solutions such as, of course, Gorilla Island. So this is the result, the sort of ring that closed the loop of the analysis. And we consider one of the sample, the tracking sample that I previously showed you, the case study from Italy to Quebec, the extreme cold exposure to the wine cases. And you consider, we realized a sort of chemical and organoleptical analysis of a wine that was affected by a virtual shipment that we experienced in our climate control room. And so you can say as by looking at, okay, of course we consider the size, the flavor, the taste, and the general preference by the decision and the preference of a panel of a professional taster of wine, and also chemical analysis. And you can say by the general preference of wine that the Gorilla Liner, the product that was shipped, virtually shipped within the Gorilla Liner, was preferred in comparison with the product that was shipped out of the liner, so with the standard container. Maybe they weren't able to recognize the difference in size, but they were able to recognize the difference in taste and in flavor of the wine. And the last slide also replaced the same kind of analysis by considering the same analysis by simulating a shipment with an extreme heat exposure. You can see as the temperature raises up to 57 Celsius degrees, and you can see by the column the total preference, the overall preference of the panel of the professional taster, that especially for red wine that appears to be more sensible to, of course, heat exposure and temperature, it seems to me that the Gorilla Liner, the product that shipped within the Gorilla Liner, were preferred by the panel of enologists. Okay, that's it. I conclude my presentation. I'm going to give the word again to Professor Manzini to give the speech.
Thank you so much. Just a few minutes in order to conclude. Let's find a few conclusions. Certainly the basic first conclusion is that Gorilla Liner performs better than the standard container in terms of the control of temperature and in terms of the environmental effects collected during the journey. This is another kind of analysis we are able to conduct in our project and in our laboratory, also in collaboration with Giorgio. You can see edible oils, and in particular analysis was focused is the identification of the best packages, for example, the best HP closure, in order to protect the product inside. It is possible to accelerate the stresses affecting, for example, the phenomenon of oil coming out, or the broken of glasses, and so on. This is a very important opportunity to predict the lifetime duration of a generic package. And for this reason, we are searching Finally, we are looking for new partners as part of groups of research institutions and companies interested to participate to a European project. There are many opportunities to promote and to implement projects interested in focusing on sustainability, quality, safety and efficiency. And this is the request we will give you in order to find an interest like the interest Giorgio gave us in the past. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much for Giorgio. Thank you so much for this beautiful location. Thank you.